In this society, you are discarded as trash, stripped of the hard work you put into getting a house and wedding ring, all because of the emotional butterflies she got because she missed her time with Chad. Don't take them back when Chad dumps her and reminds her why he only plays around with her. Men work in the most brutal conditions. The 80-20 rule ties into this and modern women. When women want equality and want to work and have the same opportunities as men, they are comparing themselves to the top-tier 20% of men in the workforce. When women want to work, they imagine themselves as the CEO, Don Draper with his 3 martini lunches and commanding power and respect. The bottom 80% of men are invisible to women. The bottom 80% of the same men keep society running with garbage collection, working the power lines, mining for coal, and building houses brick by brick. Those types of jobs never get mentioned when they cry about equal representation in the workforce. The same applies to their intimacy strategy when they complain about, why is it when a guy has a high body count, he is a stud, while a girl with a high body count is a pro? Again, they are comparing themselves to the top-tier top 20% of guys. That's like a girl asking, why does Tom Cruise sleep with 100 women and he is a stud while I, a freshman at some community college, sleep with 100 guys and get called a pro? The best thing for modern humanity is to let modern women just time out of their fertility. Men should reject women of all ages in the workplace, and don't make contact beyond that needed to conduct the business of the company. No intimate romantic contact at all. Let women suffer for the hell they've put modern men through since the intimacy revolution. Let this no contact with women be the men's reply. This behavior in Western women is spreading fast across the world. Young women in African cities are already behaving this way, with their exposure to social media and Western ideologies weaved into movies and popular culture. Imagine hookup culture spreading fast among African girls. A new breed of disloyal women is on the rise. Married women have taken on this attitude. They've become cold and distant, emotionally detached and uncaring. It's dry and barren in most married men's homes, leaving us to come home to cold, empty homes. Women have 5 years until the game is officially over. Once real AI is integrated into AI intimacy robots, a lot of men are going to completely check out the dating game. Imagine an intimacy robot that is designed to satisfy your every physical desire, but also to become your best friend and greatest ally. It's not that far-fetched to imagine a world where men just don't need real women anymore because real women have nothing left to offer. I, for one, look forward to that future. The funny thing is that the feminists don't tell these women that the stress of trying to compete against a man in life causes you to age faster, so these women look older than they actually are when they become alpha females. In a few years, the statistics of women living longer than men will flip, and men will live longer than women, simply because men handle stressful situations easier and don't get emotional. Women, on the other hand, take things personally and let it affect their entire being, which leads to emotional stress. I have experienced this firsthand as a manager in an office with other female managers. If an employee makes a mistake, they are more concerned with how they will look to upper management instead of coaching the employee on the correct way to do something. I congratulate those Western women for all they fought for and achieved. I don't think they fully understood what they were actually getting themselves into, but seeing all the backlash these days, and how it continues to grow as fast as more and more men realize they no longer are wanted as traditional men, that's allowed more men to refocus their time, energy, and resources for themselves. Modern Western women failed to realize that men have been adapting to an ever-changing world for as long as history can recall. That drive to adapt was focused on being the provider for their families and the well-being of their women and children. Women are learning that they are less capable of adapting, and though fought for all those equality rights, they've also told men they're no longer needed. Men are simply adapting and stepping away more and more these days. Best of luck to all those modern Western women in their paths. Meanwhile, men are no longer under the pressure to sacrifice in order to provide as they always have. Less work and drive to claw to the top, and more time to focus on what men actually enjoy. For those men who still want a family life, there are other places where those traditional values are not only appreciated, but reciprocated in kind. Women should be grateful. There are men willing to do awful jobs. When there's a horrible storm and the power lines fall down, it's men who go out there climbing poles and risking their lives with sleet and high wind, blowing at them as they try to deal with the live lines and restore power. Men build bridges and skyscrapers. Men are up there, building the structure, adding the windows, painting the entire structure. Men work in oppressively hot foundries. Men do so many jobs that women would never want to do. Can you imagine a woman working in the sewers? God created men and women differently for a reason. Women need to realize they're being saved from a whole lot of stress if they're comfortably sitting at their homes grinding grain and making bread, cleaning, sewing, cooking, baking, and making sure things are organized. So many women don't realize just how good they have it and how much the world would completely come to a stop if not for men. Men, we hold the greatest trump card of all, the infrastructure. Don't let pros dissuade you from your purpose and power. Stand strong because it's your way or the highway. The cycle is turning toward the end of feminism. Men continue to take abuse when they think that is less difficult than looking for another woman partner. Especially when divorce with children in a family is a man's nightmare. A woman's argument that they wasted her youth on that particular man is supposed to make man feel guilty. Of course, every man really knows his worth, appearance, stamina, and ability to produce a certain lifestyle. Don't ever forget, guys, when you meet a woman, they have had 10 times your intimate partners you have had, and I mean that in the best way. If she is very promiscuous, she had had that 20 times that gain. So think on, guys. Don't just take on any random girl that likes you. She's been around the block 10 times you have ever had. You're not new, just another guy that wants to smash. Brothers and men, let's take the current situation as a key to the shackles of slavery that our gender was suffering from. Live and work only for your benefit, and dedicate the time and attention that you would waste on a woman to improve yourself every day. Celibacy is not something to be ashamed of. Celibacy and self-sufficiency are the solution to all problems. Let society fix its own problems. Modern women are confused in their confidence. I don't need a man. Really? Who built the house or apartment you live in? Who repairs and maintains the car you drive? Who grows the food you eat? Who built the nice office you want to work in? Who builds and maintains the roads you travel on? Yeah, you don't need men. Think again. Every day when I wake up, I think to myself, how bad can dating and relationships be? To support my point, a woman turns on her smartphone somewhere in the world and starts ranting about how pointless it is to be in a committed relationship with a man. We can genuinely thank God for social media, because it exposed the truth about what women have been really thinking about guys all along. In the past, males dominated society, and women's sole responsibility was to raise the next generation. Please keep this in mind, gentlemen. Look at what happened, though, when they transitioned from being the gender that essentially raised the next generation to what they are today. They could balance themselves to some extent before. Look at how they are now treating us in the present. I don't want to imply that they are less than anything. I'm simply pointing out that nature created men and women for very distinct purposes. And history demonstrates that life and relationships function best when everyone, including both genders, acts in accordance with what nature intended. Think about it for a second. When they became independent and had the capacity to outperform certain males, they began treating men like trash, and today, they don't give a damn about men. I am aware that this is a divisive position, and that at first instance it may not make sense. However, when you take into account that the womanist movement provided them with some power, they eventually started to rule over men in both the social and economic sectors. Following that, they began to bash men on social media. It seems to indicate that maybe not only women are speaking right now, maybe they've always wanted it, but they didn't have the power to make it happen.